And people would say, the circumstances are as follows here. You met someone who was a child, you were in a position of power over them, you used your power eventually to give them something they craved, which was a shot at a job in the media, you nurtured a relationship, and then that relationship became sexual. And they might ask, what's the difference between that and grooming?
Well, I would say that the initial list of things was not right anyway.
Phillip Schofield was a household name, sitting on the sofa of the This Morning studio almost every single day for the past 21 years, alongside his faithful sidekick Holly Willoughby. Phillip Schofield was one half of the Phil and Holly double act so many took comfort with on a weekday morning, having packed the kids off to school. However, Phillip Schofield's television career started off in very different surroundings, heading the youth music programme Shazam on New Zealand television in 1982.
Our thanks to everybody who entered the Shazam music video contest. All the entries have been very impressive and of an excellent standard. If you didn't win this time around, our best wishes for next time, and who knows, tonight's winners could go on to become musical or visual directors in their own right. To commemorate New Zealand Music Week, we'll end the programme the way we started, with Dee Smash 12 months down the track. From Outlook for Thursday to their latest video, Wailing. Take care, and I'll see you back on Shazam Saturday and Tuesday.
In 1985, Phillip Schofield returned to the UK to spearhead a new children's BBC initiative in the renowned Broom Cupboard.
Have you seen this jumper? Oh, come on, talk to me. Look, have you look at this jumper? It says, I'm with the idiot on here. Look, that's not very fair, is it? I would like one myself, actually, but I didn't get sent one of those. I'm with the idiot. Somehow, sometimes, I think you're taking over. Don't you shout at me, young fella, me lad.
2 years later, Phillip and Gordon the Gopher moved on to higher planes, presenting the Saturday morning show Going Live.
Shula Freeman is in Nottingham. Apparently she's a bit upset at the moment. This is in response to Sarah's bird appeal. Shula has a cockatiel. It's grey with a yellow face and red cheeks. If you live in Nottingham, please listen very, very, very closely and carefully. It's called Busby. Grey, yellow face, right, red cheeks, Busby. Answers to a wolf whistle, if you can't remember its name. That's exactly the one. And it flew out of the house on Friday at 4:30, and they haven't seen it since. Has anyone seen it? In the Clifton area of Nottingham. If you see a cockatiel, grey with a yellow face and red cheeks, answers to the name of Busby, with your wolf whistle, it will come to you, we are told. Please give us a call on 01811 8055, and we will do our very best to put Busby back in contact with its owner, Shula, who's missing it desperately. Now,
leaving children's presenting in 1995, Phil spent the rest of the decade flitting between game shows such as Talking Telephone Numbers,
which was a 7, so that makes tonight's numbers 2, 4, 5, 6, 7. And if they occur in any order amongst your phone number's last 5 digits, then I would start making plans to buy a bigger wallet, providing you can answer these 3 questions.
In 2002, Phillip Schofield had reached the pinnacle of his career as he was announced as the permanent presenter on ITV's This Morning.
No.
It's nice.
But it's quite nice.
Right. No,
I like
lovely.
it. Make some water.
There he remained for the following 2 decades. February 2020. After nearly 40 years on our TV screens, Phillip Schofield dramatically came out as gay live on national television. Supported by his co-presenter and friend, Holly Willoughby, he stood up in a grand ceremony on This Morning and announced, "With the strength and support of my wife and daughters,
I've been coming to terms with the fact that I am gay."
And in an act which we now know to be false, fake and forced, the whole team got together and gave him a nice little squeeze live on air.
Then it goes to those two in their choreographed way, knowing how false they are. I'm sure they've rehearsed it for days as to what they were going to say and do and who was going to hug. And Holly was very specific about where she sat, where Phillip sat, where Ruth sat, where I sat. It was all choreographed, right? Then we notice the Sun newspaper's here. So the story was sold to the Sun newspaper. The director of programmes, Kevin Ligo, was there from ITV. The director of daytime, Emma Gormley.
Well done. Wow.
On May 18th, 2023, Phillip Schofield made his final appearance on This Morning.
And Nisha Katona will be making a delicious chicken curry to kickstart the weekend. See you on Monday. Bye. Bye.
And left without much fanfare as he was afforded the briefest of send-offs by his remaining colleagues.
And This Morning, I want to say a huge thank you to Phil for what he's done to make the show such a success over the last 21 years.
Quite simply, we all know he's one of the best live television broadcasters this country has ever had. And we and all the team wish him all the best for the future.
Yeah.
Shortly after, Phillip Schofield revealed he had had an affair with a young production assistant on This Morning. This had taken place in the time prior to his coming out live on TV, meaning he had done so before he had separated from his wife Stephanie Lowe. This revelation sparked mass outrage from the public, who had felt lied to, not to mention throwing vitriol at the now disgraced Schofield for grooming the young man concerned. Schofield, backed into a corner, released a full, heartfelt interview with his side of the story.
So he followed you on Twitter, you followed him back. Did you start having a sort of email exchange or direct message exchange of any kind?
Hardly at all. It was just all the way through, just on and off. And then he asked if he could visit the studios, work experience type of thing. I said, well, you come down and have a look for sure, which he did.
How old was he when he made that first, there's two stages there. How old was he when he first said to you, I'm interested in television? Was he 18 by that point?
19 then, I would think.
He was 19 by then. And then when he said, could I come and have work experience, he would have been older than 19.
Well, just a more or less about the same time, because I'd organised it.
And people would say, the circumstances are as follows here. You met someone who was a child, you were in a position of power over them, you used your power eventually to give them something they craved, which was a shot at a job in the media, you nurtured a relationship, and then that relationship became sexual. And they might ask, what's the difference between that and grooming?
Well, I would say that the initial list of things was not right anyway.
However, while explaining how he didn't groom Matthew, Schofield explained step by step how he groomed him.
Tell me, why?
Because it was a totally innocent picture, a totally innocent Twitter follow, of which I follow 11,400 people, and then it was a completely innocent backwards and forwards over a period of time about a job.
Some mental arithmetic's required here to figure out exactly what did happen. A little trip back in time is required. Phillip Schofield first met Matthew McGreevy during a visit to the Two-Faced Theatre Company when the boy was just 15 years of age. Over the next few years, Schofield and Matthew exchanged a back and forth of tweets on Twitter. These appeared to be relating to Matthew's career in television, and Schofield enthusiastically encouraging him. Now, Schofield claims that it was just normal tweeting back and forth, and on the face of it, it seems that way, but if you look at the way they're written, it's an enthusiastic tweet that he's putting forward. The culmination of all this was Matthew asking Schofield if he could have some work experience on This Morning, to which Schofield replied, yeah, sure, why not, come down. During his time working at the This Morning studios, Matthew was allowed use of This Morning's studio, the facilities, the crew, cast members, and everything else in order to put together his own showreel for himself, for his future aspirations.
You're on a desert island.
Yeah.
You have got 3 items to take.
Yeah.
What would those items be? This is going to be very interesting.
Well, can I have anything?
I'll be the judge, so you
I
tell me.
I want a phone, I want flares,
No,
I want a raft.
No. You're off the island. Wow, look at that. Let's give the viewers, although they do know you quite well now,
right.
Let's give them a little bit more of information that they might not know.
All right, then, well, let's see if you can get me to say something out loud that I've not said before.
Challenge accepted. Philip, thank you so much.
I'll see you in 3 years.
See you in 3 years. Wonder what we'll both be doing then.
Well, if I'm still getting away with it, I'll be a happy man.
Great. Amazing. Cheers, mate. Thanks.
Ironically, Schofield was not still getting away with it 3 years later. Schofield started a relationship with Matthew once he was allegedly 20 years of age or thereabouts. The grooming process began with those first tweets, using his fame to entice a vulnerable, impressionable boy. He then offered him opportunities in television. He offered him opportunities to get his show reel together, to get himself up in the ladder quicker, and then it culminated with him having a relationship with the boy. However, the grooming, believe it or not, is still going on. As long as Schofield is paying for Matthew's legal team, he remains in control.
When you say that you engage his lawyer, do you mean you're paying for the independent legal advice that he's getting? Okay.
It's not an equal partnership, it's not an equal relationship, because Schofield still has that element of control whilst he is the one that's paying for his lawyers and such. Matthew needs to break free, to have a clean break in order to begin his recovery. Following the scandal, Schofield's co-host and best friend immediately distanced herself for her own sake and her own career, announcing on Instagram that it's taken time to process yesterday's news. When reports of this relationship first surfaced, I asked Phil directly if this was true and was told it was not. It's been very hurtful to now find out that this was a lie. So, a 13-year friendship over in the space of one Instagram post. Many speculated whether she would return to the This Morning sofa. However, there was no doubt that she would. She did so and came back with what can only be described as a unwise but not illegal speech of epic proportions, which had every man, woman and child cringing from here to the ITV studios.
Right, deep breath. Firstly, are you okay? I hope so. It feels very strange indeed sitting here without Phil.
Many took note just how little her apparent friendship had meant to her, and the incredible fakeness of it all. Ironically, the whole situation is about how fake the entire situation on This Morning has been, and how toxic it has been, and how fake it has been. And Holly comes back with a speech which was as fake as anything that's ever been said on TV ever. Just how much did ITV know of this whole situation? They claim they carried out a thorough investigation back in 2020 when the rumours first surfaced. They did, I suppose. Well, they asked Schofield and Matthew, at least. They just asked the question, I guess. That was it. They claim no one at ITV knew. However, this has been refuted by those in the know as certain situations occurred, such as Schofield using ITV to pay for taxis to and from his house, and the time when Matthew joined the This Morning team on stage at the National Television Awards. This is highly unusual for a junior worker to collect an award of that magnitude.
By the way, we love getting up very, very early in the mornings, even when it's really, really cold and dark, so that we can work on a show that we're so proud of.
Matthew was eventually moved from the set of This Morning onto the set of Loose Women. According to industry experts, this is highly unusual, and even according to Schofield, would need the approval of the top bosses. So why did they move him? Surely because somebody knew, or everybody knew. Since the scandal broke, many former colleagues of Schofield, former guests on the show and former ITV have spoken out about Schofield, and for the most part, it's not good.
And then I think the audacity, being condescending, belittling to people with real issues on the sofa. Who are they to give him the right for an opinion and tell them what's right or wrong? I'm shaking. It's people don't understand.
So I was now faced with him, and I walked in the studio. Oh, Jim, thank heavens you're here. Oh, it was fantastic. Yeah, I thought you were great on Hell's Kitchen. I don't care what people say, and you're accused of this, and I know you slightly differently. I'm ever so pleased you're here. And then we're coming back out of commercial break, and cue Phillip. So now we have a controversial comedian, Jim Davidson, and he turned to me with a face like thunder and said, so why were you behaving in such a homophobic way to that man? What made you do this? I mean, on he went. I talk about change just like this. And I felt last night, why don't you...
So apparently Schofield was not a pleasant man to work with, at the very least. Rumours have surfaced recently that Schofield may be planning a return to TV in a different capacity, on a different show. However, in a statement recently released by his lawyers, this is not something that's going to be happening anytime soon. However, experts believe that he could return at some stage, given a reasonable amount of time, onto the breeding ground of the the disgraced TV presenters that is Talk TV, joining the ever lovely Jeremy Kyle on there. So possibly that could be an option in the future, because they seem to take anybody on if they'll take Kyle. So what are your thoughts on this situation? Were you shocked at the revelations? Do you think he's innocent until proven guilty? Well, he's kind of been proved anyway. Do you think he's innocent of all charges and he's been given a bad time and it's all harsh and everything else, right? Or did he in fact use his position of power for his own sexually motivated reasons, which is, in the sense of every word, grooming? He knew Matthew since he was 15 years of age. When he was a child, he used his position to get the boy up in the game, and then when he was legally able to, he had a relationship with him. Where there's a balance of power, it's never an even playing field. So there we go. Phillip Schofield, once a legend, destroyed, ruined, ended. Thank you all so much. Please give this video a thumbs up and comment, as I said, everything you want to comment down below, and subscribe to the channel if you're new. Until next time, take care of yourselves and bye bye.